Hello and welcome back to another module on ITIL methods of assessing value. We shall be starting with Assess Where You Are. Services and methods already in place should be measured and/or observed directly to properly understand their current state and what can be reused from them. Decisions on how to proceed should be based on information that is as accurate as possible. Within organizations, there is frequently a discrepancy between reports and reality. This is due to the difficulty of accurately measuring certain data, or the unintentional bias or distortion of data that is produced through reports. Getting data from the source helps to avoid assumptions which, if proven to be unfounded, can be disastrous to timelines, budgets, and the quality of results. The role of measurement. The use of measurement is important to this principle. It should, however, support but not replace what is observed, as over-reliance on data analytics and reporting can unintentionally introduce biases and risks in decision-making. Although it is true that some things can only be understood through measuring their effect, for example, natural phenomena such as the wind, direct observation should always be the preferred option. Too often, existing data is used with no consideration of direct personal investigation. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Goodhart's Law. Applying the principle. Having a proper understanding of the current state of services and methods is important to selecting which elements to reuse, alter, or build upon. To apply this principle successfully, consider this advice. Look at what exists as objectively as possible, using the customer or the desired outcome as the starting point. Are the elements of the current state fit for purpose and fit for use? There are likely to be many elements of the current services, practices, projects, and skills that can be used to create the desired future state, provided the people making this judgment are objective. When examples of successful practices or services are found in the current state, determine if and how these can be replicated or expanded upon to achieve the desired state. In many, if not most, cases, leveraging what already exists will reduce the amount of work needed to transition from the current state to the desired state. There should be a focus on learning and improvement, not just replication and expansion. Apply your risk management skills. There are risks associated with reusing existing practices and processes, such as the continuation of old behaviors that are damaging to the service. There are also risks associated with putting something new in place, such as new procedures not being performed correctly. These should be considered as part of the decision-making process, and the risks of making or not making a change evaluated to decide on the best course of action. Recognize that sometimes nothing from the current state can be reused. Regardless of how desirable it may be to reuse, repurpose, and recycle, or even upcycle, there will be times when the only way to achieve the desired result is to start over entirely. It should be noted, however, that these situations are very rare. Progress iteratively with feedback is the next concept. Improvement iterations can be sequential or simultaneous, based on the requirements of the improvement and what resources are available. Each individual iteration should be both manageable and managed, ensuring that tangible results are returned in a timely manner and built upon to create further improvement. The overall initiative or program, as well as its component iterations, must be continually reevaluated and potentially revised to reflect any changes in circumstances and ensure that the focus on value has not been lost. This reevaluation should make use of a wide range of feedback channels and methods to ensure that the status of the initiative and its progress are properly understood. The role of feedback. A feedback loop is a term commonly used to refer to a situation where part of the output of an activity is used for new input. Well-constructed feedback mechanisms facilitate understanding of end-user and customer perception of the value created, the efficiency and effectiveness of value chain activities, the effectiveness of service governance as well as management controls, the interfaces between the organization and its partner and supplier network, the demand for products and services. Once received, feedback can be analyzed to identify improvement opportunities, risks, and issues. Iteration and feedback together. Working in a time-boxed, iterative manner with feedback loops embedded into the process allows for greater flexibility, faster responses to customer and business needs, the ability to discover and respond to failure earlier, an overall improvement in quality. Having appropriate feedback loops between the participants of an activity gives them a better understanding of where their work comes from, where their outputs go, and how their actions and inputs affect the outcomes, which in turn enables them to better decisions. Applying the principle. To apply this principle successfully, consider this advice. Comprehend the whole, but do something. Sometimes the greatest enemy to progressing iteratively is the desire to understand and account for everything. This can lead to what is sometimes called analysis paralysis, in which so much time is spent analyzing the situation that nothing ever gets done about it. Understanding the big picture is important, but so is making progress. The ecosystem is constantly changing, so feedback is essential. Change is happening constantly, so it is very important to seek and use feedback at all times and at all levels. Fast does not mean incomplete. Just because an iteration is small enough to be done quickly does not mean that it should not include all the elements necessary for success. Any iteration should be produced in line with the concept of the minimum viable product. A minimum viable product is a version of the final product which allows the maximum amount of validated learning with the least effort. With this, we have reached the end of this module. Thank you for learning with us.